I am about to embark on a topic that some may not be too pleased with the disclosure of. However, this is the history of karaoke in South Africa, and I shall endeavour to recount it as truthfully as possible. To begin, it is essential to understand the political landscape of South Africa during the time in question. The nation had been sanctioned by the Western world due to the apartheid regime. As a result, when karaoke made its way to South Africa, it arrived predominantly from the East. The first format in which it was introduced was LaserDisc, and a well-known South African cricketer, Clive Rice, alongside his wife, was instrumental in importing these discs, particularly the esteemed Pioneer collection. The Japanese-manufactured LaserDiscs posed a technical challenge as they were formatted for the NTSC television system, whereas the majority of South African televisions operated on the PAL system. Consequently, in order to host a karaoke event, it was necessary to purchase a television capable of playing multi-system format. Furthermore, the cost of these LaserDiscs was prohibitively high, averaging no less than $100 per disc, rendering them inaccessible to the general public. In Johannesburg, there was a bar at a hotel in Braamfontein that managed to amass a reasonably good collection, making it a notable venue for karaoke enthusiasts. For several years, karaoke LaserDiscs remained protected from piracy due to the format's complexity and the technological limitations of the era. Duplication by the average individual was virtually impossible. However, this changed with the introduction of multi-system video machines, with one of the most significant brands being Mitsubishi. Prior to this innovation, the only means to replicate these discs would have been through analog recording, which was both inefficient and of subpar quality. Additionally, personal computers of the time lacked the necessary hard drive capacity, as the standard drive size was measured in megabytes, and the MP3 format had not yet been developed. By the mid-1990s, the landscape began to shift, with the introduction of the 1 gigabyte hard drive and the advent of MP3 technology. Nevertheless, for the most part, the LaserDisc karaoke industry remained relatively secure from mass duplication. The high cost of these discs limited their ownership to a select few, with even the most dedicated collectors possessing no more than 40 LaserDiscs in their repertoire. This inevitably led to a sense of monotony among karaoke patrons, as they were restricted to singing the same repertoire repeatedly. Even the most extensive song collections at the time could fit onto a single page of a song list. The major karaoke production companies, including Pioneer, United, BMG, Polygram, and Stone, focused on releasing only the most widely recognized hits, ensuring that these collections were commercially viable. However, with the rise of the internet, South African karaoke enthusiasts began engaging with American counterparts through online chat forums. It was in the year 1996 that South Africans first discovered the existence of another karaoke format, CD plus G, compact disc plus graphics. This revelation coincided with the emergence of MP3 encoding, providing a method for these discs to be copied and stored digitally on computers. While standard CD-ROM and DVD writers could only read the audio portion of these discs, there was no mainstream software or hardware readily available to display the accompanying graphics. Eventually, the necessary technology was acquired, and CD plus G discs were encoded and transferred onto computers. This process involved extracting the graphical data separately from the audio, resulting in two distinct files, one for the visuals and one for the MP3 audio track, which were subsequently compressed together into a zip file. Despite the growing interest in CD plus G, South Africa was at a distinct disadvantage as the necessary CD plus G players were never widely distributed within the country. Although Philips manufactured compatible players, they were not readily available. Consequently, South Africans primarily acquired their karaoke collections through online interactions with Americans, obtaining what were, in essence, duplicate copies rather than original discs. At this juncture, it is critical to acknowledge that the proliferation of karaoke in South Africa was largely driven by piracy. The overwhelming majority of karaoke jockeys, estimated at 99.9%, have never owned an authentic CD plus G disc. This is evidenced by their complete lack of knowledge regarding the hardware and software required to transfer CD+G discs onto computers. Since the original discs were never officially sold within South Africa, it is logically impossible for these karaoke jockeys to have created their own digital libraries from legally acquired sources. Instead, they relied on obtaining pre-existing digital copies from international sources. The financial aspect further supports this argument. In South Africa, the average karaoke jockey earns less than $100 for a standard gig at a bar or restaurant. Given that a library of 100,000 karaoke tracks would have cost approximately $300,000, equating to over 5,400,000 South African rands, it is inconceivable that these individuals could have legally purchased such extensive collections. Unless a karaoke jockey had been directly involved in producing karaoke content, their entire repertoire would have been sourced from pirated materials. The trajectory of the karaoke industry in South Africa is one that moved from an exclusive upmarket niche to a period of waning interest, followed by a resurgence fueled by piracy. However, this rampant unauthorized duplication ultimately led to the devaluation of the market. What was once a highly sought-after entertainment experience became ubiquitous and consequently lost much of its value. The rates paid to karaoke jockeys have declined significantly, with many earning less per gig today than they did in the late 1980s. The decline was further exacerbated by the advent of YouTube, which provided an alternative source of karaoke entertainment. What many fail to recognize is that creating karaoke content and making it available on YouTube requires significant effort, expertise, and financial investment. Unless content creators receive financial support, the future of karaoke production remains precarious, and the industry risks fading into obscurity.